is around the corner. So my Friday, a tip for you is if you have any project on ground that you're planning to work on and is still on paper, I beg, activate it because the way the year is running, you will not even achieve anything so fast. We are in the month of May. When did we say Happy New Year? Just about 5 months ago. And I don't know, but it is what it is. Like I said, if you have any project and you're working on or planning to do something for the year, it's advisable you activate that now. Okay, let's look at the games from yesterday. Definitely on the review show today, that's exactly what we do on a Friday. We tend to review all the games for this weekend from the Nigerian Premier League. Yes, our own league. I will go straight to Europe, England, France, Germany, Italy, Spain. We touch those leagues and every other top stories that we have on the front burner we give onto you today. And also, it was a massive game for Chelsea. Yes, a beautiful one yesterday. We'll talk about that on in the show this morning. And also, we look at the Europa League, the invincible run of Bayern Leverkusen. Well, I was expecting a tough run yesterday in Italy regarding the game between the AS Roma and Bayern Leverkusen. But you know how the invincibility of that team is. It is still on, and hopefully it will also extend to this weekend. They are the German champions, and they'll be looking at the German Cup, and they'll also be looking at the Europa League to clinch something this season. Massive one for Xavi Alonso, and we'll also give you other details coming from the games played yesterday. So let's go for this quick break as usual, and when we return, yes, all the top stories on the table this lovely Friday morning. It is sport on Eagles Wings.
You are about to experience Eargasm.
I don't want nobody, baby, but you.
On the Eagles 102.3 FM.
No offense to the commercials. It's just that we want to see other audio.
Eagles 102.3. Golf, football, basketball, lawn tennis, cricket, volleyball, athletics. It's the mother of all sports show. It's sports on Eagles Wings with Vicky V weekdays from 8 a.m. with the real sport. Sports on Eagles Wings. Sportstainment at its finest. Eagles
playing the music you want to.
Eagles 102.3.
Okay, we begin with this story as usual, coming from the home front. Yes, and that story is all about the Super Eagles coach. Come on, before you start thinking I want to antagonize him again. Definitely a lot of news will be coming from him. Yes, he's in this public space as we speak. Yes, anybody that is in the public space, including the president, everybody wants to know what's happening and really talk about him, talking about anybody occupying a public position, and that's exactly how it is. But let me authoritatively tell you that Super Eagles will qualify for the 2026 World Cup with NFF Nigerians support. And who is making this statement? No other person but the newly appointed Super Eagles head coach in the person of Finidi George. Now he says that Nigerians going to the 2026 FIFA World Cup is a task that requires all hands on deck. Yes, all hands on deck. Now the outgoing coach of Eyimba, I repeat that again, the outgoing coach of Eyimba International of Aba said in a brief chat that he is happy with the appointment as Super Eagles head coach and pledged to give it his best and ensure that Nigeria qualify for the next World Cup. According to Finidi George, he said, I am happy with my appointment as Super Eagles head coach. I believe with the support of the NFF and Nigerians, we shall achieve a lot. I still have to meet with the NFF and tidy up things before I have a formal media chat. This is coming from Finidi George. Now, the NFF on Monday announced Finidi George as the head coach of the Super Eagles. Now, Finidi takes on the one-ross task of leading the Super Eagles out of their current tight corner in the 2026 FIFA World Cup African qualifiers and qualify to feature in the final tournament that will be co-hosted by Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Now, Nigeria is currently third in their group with 2 points from 2 matches. 2 points behind group leaders Rwanda and 1 point behind second place Bafana of South Africa. Nigeria, Lesotho, Zimbabwe are tied on a number of points. Benin Republic brings up to the rear with just 1 point. Let's also tell you that Finidi will lead the Super Eagles to face Bafana of South Africa in Uyo on June 3rd, 2024, and the Squirrels of Benin Republic in Abidjan on June 10, 2024. So as we speak, we have exactly 1 month to that game. Yes, today is May 3rd, and on June 3rd, 2024, Nigeria will lock horns with Bafana of South Africa in Uyo, talking about the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. So he'll be waiting to tidy up everything he needs to tidy before he will finally have a media chat with the talking about media. We'll definitely discuss with him. Hopefully we want to hear what he has to say. Probably he has his plans already. I'm sure he'll be preparing that speech after he tidy up everything with the NFF. Now, there was an initial statement I made there, and I emphasized on it. The outgoing coach of Eyimba International. The outgoing coach of Eyimba International. And that means Finidi George will definitely hand over the reins of the coaching of Eyimba to someone else. We'll keep tab with what's happening in Eyimba. Will he be the assistant coach that will be there on interim basis, or will Finidi see the team all throughout the end of the season? That is this month. But we don't want distraction. A month to that game against South Africa, he should be up and doing. Hopefully, he should be preparing the list. He should be scouting out for players that will be invited to camp when that international window finally opens. Okay, we'll still return back to news from the home front, but let's look at the game yesterday played Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur. Now, I don't know if you actually watched that game. Yes, I was looking at it, and we actually analyzed the possibility of Chelsea, getting up to the position they are supposed to be if they win that game, and it seems to pan out well. So as we speak, Chelsea has moved upward. Yes, Chelsea has moved upward on the EPL table. Just like we said yesterday, Chelsea will be behind Manchester United and Newcastle on 8th position. So as it is now, Manchester United is on 6th position, Newcastle United 7th, and Chelsea 8th position on the log. Now let's tell you that Chelsea delivered a hammer blow to Tottenham's hope of qualifying for next season's UEFA Champions League with a 2-0 win against their spluttering London rival on Thursday. Now Trevor Chabola's first goal since March 2022 put Chelsea ahead in the first half at the Bridge. Now the match the match actually went on with Nicholas Jackson wrapped up with the point in closing stages with his 14th goal of a difficult first season for Chelsea. Now let's also tell you that after losing to Arsenal and Newcastle, fifth place Tottenham third successive defeat leaves them 7 points behind fourth place Aston Villa. Now Tottenham have 4 games left, while Villa have 3 to go, making the North Londoner rank outside to finish in the Premier League's top 4. Now it was another painful setback for Tottenham, who have squandered the goodwill built by the Portuguese, but the Australian first season wasn't as expected. Now, Chelsea boss Mauricio Pochettino enjoyed a second win over his former club this season, following a 4-win success in November. Now, Pochettino had irritated Chelsea's fan by admitting he couldn't hide his emotion for the club he managed for 5 years and led to the 2019 Champions League final. Well, it was a deserved win for Chelsea, a deserved win for Pochettino, getting a win back-to-back since he left Tottenham Hotspur. He won them 4-1 last time at the Tottenham Stadium, and again this time 2-0, where he was his former club. Probably he knows how to play his team, and let's see how it pans out for the Chelsea team. Now let's look at the table as usual. Let's analyze the table after this game. Now we'll be looking at the top 3, top 4, top 5, top 6, and top 8 on the table as we head into this weekend. Now looking at the table in the English Premier League, let's look at number 1 on the table, Arsenal. Yes, they've played 35 games so far. 3 games left for Arsenal, and if they win those games, there's every tendency they will win the league if and only if Manchester City drop points. For as it is now confirmed that only Arsenal and Manchester City have qualified for next season's UEFA Champions League. What a way for the Gunners, qualifying for the UEFA Champions League back to back. And as for Liverpool, they've played 35 games more, and they are third on the log with 75 points. Aston Villa follow closely in fourth position. They've played more games, that's 35, and they are 67 on the log. Now let's look at Tottenham Hotspur. In their last 5 games, they've lost 3 of their games consecutively. Yes, they lost against Newcastle United, they lost against Arsenal, and now yesterday they lost against Chelsea. And followed closely behind is yes, we talk about Tottenham, and Tottenham, funny enough, still have an outstanding game, and if Tottenham play that outstanding game, they cannot even get close to Aston Villa. Yes, they cannot get close to Aston Villa. And looking at Manchester United, they've played 34 games, even the same number of games with Tottenham Hotspur, and they have 54 points. And even if United still win their game, they will still play catch up to Tottenham Hotspur. So is it that the first 5 on the table is settled? Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Aston Villa, because even if Aston Villa win their number of games, except Liverpool decide to drop more points, I don't see Aston Villa even catching up with Liverpool. And as for Newcastle United, where they have an outstanding game to play, in short, Tottenham Hotspur, Manchester United, but Newcastle United, Chelsea, they all have played 34 games. Yes, they played 34 games. And if Chelsea wins its game, yes, we only wait for United to drop points. I don't think United want to even drop points at this time. All their focus is to win the game. In short, Tottenham, Manchester United, Newcastle United, and Chelsea all need to win their games, because anybody dropping points, especially United, Newcastle United, we see the rest of the team, West Ham and even Bournemouth, trying to displace United and Newcastle from the present position. We are wrapping up the season, getting towards the end. Let's go straight to the games played yesterday in the Europa League. It was a massive result for Bayern Leverkusen. Their invincibility continues also in Europe. We are on the road in Italy. They defeated AS Roma 2-0. Now the first goal was scored 28 minutes into that game by White, and Andrich made it 2 in the 73rd minute for the German side, and they boost them a place when they return a fortnight in the German in Germany as they take on AS Roma. Are we going to see AS Roma coming back to do the same thing that Bayern did, the Bayern Leverkusen did on the road? Let's see how we pan out. But as it is a roller coaster for Bayern Leverkusen, because they are getting close to the final. And if they win the second leg, even if it's a draw for them in the second leg, but with a draw with a massive goal, we see Bayern Leverkusen in the final of the Europa League. Now the other game also played in France was the game between Marseille and Atalanta. Yes, Marseille and Atalanta, and that game was it was a draw in that particular one. Yes, Ademola Lookman was in that game, but couldn't deliver much for his team. But we say massive one for Atalanta on the road and picking a point. Now the game ended, the first half of the game ended in a draw, but the second one we saw the like of Ademola Lookman being substituted, and the rest of it was a massive one for the Atalanta side. And in the Europa Conference League, a disappointing one for Aston Villa, the only club that seems to be available for the English team. They were beaten at the Villa Park 4-2 by a visiting team from Greece. That's talking about Olympiacos. Now it ended 4-2. But meanwhile, Olympiacos opened scoring in the 16th minute and in the 29th minute, courtesy of Kabi, who got a brace in the first 29 minutes. And just about going into the halftime, we saw Watkin pulling one back for Aston Villa. Meanwhile, Aston Villa took the lead again by Diaby in the 52nd minute at the Villa Park, but they lost concentration where Olympiacos were awarded a penalty in the 56th minute, and Kabi also got a hat-trick when he scored from the spot yesterday. And to make matters worse for the Villa side, now Hase scored the fourth goal for the Olympiacos side. Now what happens to Aston Villa if they travel to Greece next week Thursday? Meanwhile, Aston Villa had a chance of pulling one back to make it 4-3 from the penalty spot, but Douglas Luiz missed the penalty. So as it stands, 4-2 heading into the second leg in Greece. And the other game between Fiorentina and Club Brugge. Yes, it was a 5-goal thriller in that particular one, where Fiorentina, an Italian side, defeated a visiting Belgium side, that's Club Brugge. Well, that game was a massive one. Both teams scoring themselves and returning back. But Onyedika got a red card in that particular one. Yes, Onyedika, yes, our own Super Eagles player, got a red card in that particular game. But despite the red card, they still went ahead to score a goal in that particular one. They went ahead and got a goal, but it was not enough, but because of the advantage of a one-man down for Club Brugge, we saw Fiorentina also adding another one to make it 3-2 in that particular encounter. So what will happen when Club Brugge where Fiorentina visits Club Brugge in the reverse fixtures next weekend? So let's have your say to those games I played yesterday as we preview the games for the weekend. Finidi George is ready to take up the task and really happy with that appointment. Set to leave Ayimba, ready to tidy up things with the NFF. Then he will have a media charter with journalists as he prepares for that game against Bafana of South Africa on June 3rd, 2024. Now you can also react to Chelsea's game yesterday. They are moving upward to Europe. Do you think Chelsea can do it? Do you think they can get to Europe? Yeah, someone will say, this guy is always a Chelsea fan. Oh man, don't be a Chelsea fan. Come on, guys, let's share your thoughts. 09073530044 or 09087668888. SMS and WhatsApp to this portal 09097054450. Meanwhile, it is Match Day Live, Friday night football across Europe as we are gradually coming to an end of this season. Friday night football in the English Premier League. Everton on the road to Luton. Yes, they want to look at the way of surviving relegation. That's talking about Everton as they will take on Luton. And you'll be wondering, where is Luton on the table? Yes, they are 18th in the relegation zone, and they want to do everything possible to get out of the relegating waters. Yes, they need this win against Everton. But do you think that they can beat this Everton side? A side that defeated Brentford in the last game, a side that knocked out Liverpool, a side that defeated Nottingham Forest. They also lost to Chelsea 6-0, but ever since that loss, they bounced back, winning 3 out of 3. And as for Luton, yes, out of the last 5 games, they've only won 1 and lost 4. Yes, they lost against Man City, they lost against Brentford, and they lost against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Will they be returning back to the Championship? Talking about relegation, Sheffield United already confirmed to be relegated, so they will return back to the Championship. Fight for another day, where the light of Leicester City will be returning back to the Premier League. Okay, it is Match Day Live, Friday night football in the French Ligue 1. Lens will take on Lorient as we see Toulouse take on Montpellier. These games will be going down later this evening, 18, that's 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. respectively. And in the German Bundesliga, it is Match Day Live. Hoffenheim will take on RB Leipzig. We already know the champions. They are champions in waiting, Bayern Leverkusen. But let's see how it pans out for Hoffenheim and RB Leipzig as they push for a place in Europe. And in the Italia Serie A, a massive game, Torino up against Bologna. Yes, Torino and Bologna will lock horns later this evening in the Italia Serie A. And in the Spanish La Liga,